Hello everyone, Trevor G. Blake from trevorgblake.com, and I'm going to talk about global warming and climate crisis. I've noticed recently that it's changed from climate change to climate crisis. I don't normally pick these controversial topics, but I'm getting somewhat concerned that what was genuine concern for our planet has become a religion, and that facts have been completely ignored and even altered in order to support the narrative that everything's going to hell and back. And what's triggered this, my thought that this is an important topic for us to bring out, is there was a storm today somewhere in the world, and 1 month's worth of rain was dumped in 24 hours. That's always going to cause issues, right? It's going to cause, anywhere in the world, that's going to cause landslides, and it happens all over the world, of course. But in the reporting of it, and I don't normally watch or read the news, but I got caught up on this one because I couldn't get out of the room fast enough. But in the reporting of it, the mayor of the town that was worst hit said, "I'm left with no doubt that this is caused by global warming." I mean, it's idiotic, and yet everybody who was in the room, I saw them all go, "Oh yeah, it's global warming, this is what's happening." Because they'd also been glued to the TV watching the latest climate deal summit. And let's put that in its context, deal. If anyone thinks for a minute that any of those politicians that gathered give a damn about the planet Earth, you've been very foolish, because it was all about deals. All the headlines about deals. A deal has been made. Well, what's the deal? It's money. Everybody wanted their slice and more of their slice, and that's what the negotiation was about. Not what can we do, not how can we improve things. It was about deals, about how can we get more of the money that's on the table. And that's what happens when things become a religion, because imagine that I have an alternative opinion. Imagine that I think we're in a cooling trend, okay? I'm not saying I do, but imagine I do. Imagine I've got some data, I've dug an ice core, and I say, hang on a sec, I think we got this wrong. And I put together a paper and an application for a grant. Where in the world today would somebody give me money to do that research? Or to do more research on that topic? Nowhere. And this reminds me, I'm old enough, I'm grey-haired, I'm old enough to remember the late 60s and the early 70s when we were told we were going into an ice age. And the BBC News headlines had pictures of Siberia. And this is where Britain was headed. And I believed it, and I was scared. I remember my father reading the newspaper to us and saying that in 1990, all the water will be frozen and people won't be able to get drinking water anymore. It was headline after headline after headline. The same as we get today, but a different narrative. And I didn't put two and two together because I was only a little kid. I didn't recognize or realize that, every day somebody was knocking on our door trying to sell us double glazing or coal or oil-fired central heating. And I didn't notice at nighttime the what we call the pea supers, these green fogs that would sort of creep over the urban area where we lived, which were caused by the inversion over the ocean where we live near the ocean. With the coal fire smoke, it would hold the coal fire smoke in, and everywhere would go green, and it was disgusting. You could taste metallic in the back of your throat. And I had a lot of bad bronchitis when I was a kid. And my physician, I went to the physician because of bad chest coughs, and my physician was smoking a pipe as he was listening to my heart with a stethoscope, blowing the smoke in my face. And he turned to my mum and he says, "What this young man needs is more fresh air." I mean, that's madness, isn't it? But it's a true story. And no one questioned it. No one. And we like to question, so at trevorgblake.com, we are all about becoming free thinkers again. Can you remember the last time you thought freely for yourself? That you made a decision based on fact, not on news headlines or on common narrative? That's what we're about. We're about reclaiming the individuals who we were born to be. And when we do that, we do two things. We take control of the reticular activation system in the brainstem, and we take control of our mirror neurons in the frontal lobe. And it changes our whole lives. And so in doing that, we seek facts, not hyperbole. And when we seek facts, we find there's a lot wrong with our planet. But a lot can be fixed if everybody stops panicking and behaving like lemmings and behaving like sheep, and actually stops and thinks and uses facts and science to make intuitive decisions. And yes, I said intuitive decisions, because at trevorgblake.com we're all about deepening our connection to our intuition, because our intuition is our compass, it's our guide. I use my intuition for my businesses. I don't make a decision based on analysis. I make a decision based on intuition. So where do we go for facts? Well, there are plenty of sources, but you have to work hard to get them. But I do all that work for you at trevorgblake.com. I rely on things like friendsofscience.org, non-profit organizations that provide actual facts on climate data. And what they show is, we're not going to drown. We do have some issues. They need fixing. They're not all human-made. Common sense prevails. Pointing out simple facts that most of the weather stations doing the recording of the climate control are in hot areas. They're in urban areas, which are hotspots. They're not out in the ocean. They're not out in the middle of the pastures. And so it has to be balanced. And they show, and I've got I can give you a sample of facts. I don't want to mess the facts up, so I don't script anything, but I don't want to mess these facts up. So this is the Hadley Centre, the UK Met Office. And this is their climate research unit at the University of East Anglia. And they show warming to 1878, cooling to 1911, warming to 1941, cooling to 1964, warming again for the next 15 years. Warming from 1908 to 1938 was 0.13 of a degree Celsius per decade, which was as large as the recent warming from 1983 to 2013 of 0.17 degrees Celsius per decade. Each 30 years, despite the carbon dioxide increase of the latter period, is 4.7 times greater than the former period. Satellite data shows cooling from 2007 through 2015. The analysis of satellite data gives a trend from 79 to August 2020 of 0.14 degrees Celsius per decade, which is half of the corresponding trend of the climate models and therefore what the media tells us. So we have issues, but are they what they say? I know that a lot of you listening to this are going to give thumbs down. You're going to say heresy. TrevorGblake.com, burn him on a pile of cow manure. But what I say is we need to be able to make decisions based on facts and intuition. We need to be free thinkers. We need sensible, scientific, fact-based debate. We do not need crusades, religious fervour, or greedy politicians who want their slice of the grants. And that's what we're about at TrevorGblake.com. So come join us. Hit the subscribe button, whether you like what I have to say or not. You're going to want to hear more of what I have to say. Hit the subscribe button because other people need to think about this too, so that we can change our reticular activation system, because what happens with this reticular activation system is it gives us what we pay attention to. So if I pay attention to global warming, it's going to give me more and more and more evidence of global warming, and it's going to filter out any alternative discussion. But if I take control, if I become a free thinker, if I use the tools and techniques at TrevorGblake.com, then I change all that. And that's really healthy.